How are you folks, and welcome to what I think is going to be part 4 of Rejuvenating the Z-Box. I assume you watched the first 3 videos, so this is part 4. We're finally going to put on my replacement strings. There are 4 of them, and I'm going to tune this up. We'll talk about the 2 things, and then if I restring this, which I might, I'll tell you why it's more likely that I will restring the whole thing. Then there'll be part 5. Will that be in a week? Will that be in a month? Will that be in a year? I don't know. One thing at a time. First things first, the tuning wrench I got is the right one. And whoops, I'm looking through the camera. It is 4 millimeters, or 1/8 of an inch. The reason why it's a big deal that I found this, it's a star shape, by the way, so you can get to from 8 different positions. Can't really see, but it's there, I promise. Anyway, the reason why I was nervous is because everyone on the internet says these are 4 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch everywhere, right? The tuning pins, 4 millimeters. But it was really hard to find a 4 millimeter wrench. All the wrenches you try to buy are 3/16 of an inch. That's 4.7 millimeters, which would be too big, which would round your corners, which is not good. So I'm like, okay, if everything is 3/16 of an inch, are we sure these are 4 millimeters or 1/8? So I found a 4 millimeter 1/8 wrench on howardpianoindustries.com. That's where I buy all my piano stuff. So I bought it, crossed my fingers, and it fits perfectly. So this really is 4 millimeters. This really is a 4 millimeter wrench, even though I had a hard time finding it. I was really confused. But anyway, so there you go. It works perfectly. This thing, I tuned up a few notes just to test it before I started recording, and this thing tunes like butter. It's amazing. So that's the wrench thing. The strings are missing 4 strings. B, F sharp, C sharp, and then an A down here. I got strings, they're wrong. They're wrong strings, but they'll work. Let me explain why. There's 2 in a pack, by the way. So, tell you what these strings are, now that I know, now that I have the Zuckermann Z-Box stringing schedule. This one down here is supposed to be brass. And this is supposed to be hard iron up here. And then iron here. And you can tell by looking, they're iron. So, they're iron. What I got is steel. Same size though, zeros, they're 9s. 9, so these are the right up here. They'll work. They're gonna work perfectly fine, but they might sound weird. They might sound too aggressive and too metallic-y, because iron is softer. So we're gonna put them in just because I want to get something on this keyboard, on this harpsichord. I just want to get this strung up so I can play every note and then do some stuff with it. But because these are wrong, they might stick out like a sore thumb, which is why I might be restringing the whole thing sooner rather than later. I read that if you do a good job restringing it, could last 10 years. But if you go to the Pt.4 forum, they say every 3 tunings you need to replace them. Makes no sense. They should last a decade. And these are at least a decade. These are probably 20 years old. You can tell when you look at them up close. So, wrong strings, but they'll work. We'll see how they go. Those are for the upper 3. The lower one, it's the wrong material and the wrong size. I now know they should be 16s. Down here, this is the last one of the 6, or first one of the 6. I can't remember. Anyway, it's supposed to be 16. I got a 14 steel. It'll work. It will work. But it might sound like dog water. Think about if you take a guitar and you take like your B string and put it down on D, or G, put it down on A or E. It'll work because it's meant to go higher pitch. It's not going to break or anything, but it might sound terrible. So we'll see. I might have a horrible sounding A. So because of that, I will probably end up just restringing the whole dang thing. 120 bucks for a string kit. You have to have your own hook. I'm going to make my own hitch pin loop tool. I'm going to make my own. This is, you just put a like 3/32, or I measured it. You put like you need like a hook and stick it in some wood, whatever. And if we do that, I'm going to scrub the soundboard, restring it. That'll be a video. So look for part 5 in the future. Like I said, could be a week, could be a month, could be a year. How did I end up with the wrong strings? Well, because I didn't know what I was getting. I was told, we have a harpsichord for you. I was super excited. These 3 strings are broken, measured with a caliper tool, 9s. This one, they weren't sure if it was 14 or 16. I chose 14 just because if it were higher up the scale, it would work. Where 16 might break higher up. So that's why I chose 14, because we didn't know what it was going to be. Didn't know the materials. Didn't even know this was a Z-Box. So then when I got it, and then I looked up the stringing schedule and things like that, and then I read, you usually don't use iron anymore, but yes, you do use iron. Iron sounds more historic. Steel is for like the revival period when they were using metal frames and all that stuff. But iron is for this. Remember, the Zuckermann Z-Box is supposed to be a historic replicated instrument. It's not supposed to sound modern. It's supposed to be historic. You know, the late Renaissance, early Baroque stuff. That's the whole purpose. So you really do want to use iron. So anyway, that's how I got the wrong strings. I didn't really care because I'm like, I just want to get some strings on this thing so I can play it. So I don't care that they're wrong. I'm just letting you know that they're wrong. So people in the comments are like, why are you putting those on this harpsichord? Yes, we know they're wrong. We've been over it now. But it doesn't matter. I don't care. We're going to put them on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put them on. I'm going to take a video of putting them on. I realized I can't use my tuning app through the phone and record at the same time, because my tuning app and recording are both on my phone. I could record on my wife's phone, but for some reason her iPhone never wants to transfer video to a Windows computer. My iPhone, same iPhone, bought at the same time, everything's the same. Mine transfers to a computer just fine. Hers doesn't, so she probably hit a security setting at some point. So I cannot record myself with my tuning app. It doesn't matter. We will do a lot of tuning by ear anyway. Well, some of it. So I'm gonna get my phone set up. We're gonna put these on together and then we'll tune it up too. So here we go. Wish me luck. All right, so I'm not gonna start the high string yet because I don't want to break things. We're gonna start where the nine's about start. So what is this? This is the B. This is B prime, or we would say B4 on a piano. Historically, it's B prime. Because remember, on a piano, C4 is the middle C, C prime is the middle C historically. So this is B prime. I think that's right. I think so. And then it goes down to lower C, big C prime, whatever. So I believe middle C is C prime, not just C. I did find a resource that said middle C is just C. It's not a C prime. So this would be B prime. So here we go, B prime. I'm out of breath because I'm a harp thing. I say that in every video. First thing we need to do is remove the pin. I'm gonna try to do this through the phone. It's really difficult. You just remove it just by unscrewing it. And yes, this is the very first time I've done this. That's why I'm doing it on camera. Because I've never done it before. I also went ahead and measured. These are all sticking up 1 inch. They're supposed to stick up 1 inch to the top. That's what they're supposed to do. That way you can just use them as reference to each other. And this really doesn't want to come out of here. And 5 hours later, we're about ready to come out. I'm seeing it in like 20 seconds. Should be ready to come out now. Right. There we go. So there's the pin. Fine threads, you can barely see them, but they're fine threads on there. The string itself, let me put that down. The strings themselves, I did buy pre-made strings because I just want to quick string this up. When I do a full restringing someday, I'm gonna buy them in coils and make my own loops. Anyway, so this has a loop on it already. This also gives me an example of what they should look like. This one has 13 windings in the helix and then 5 on the whip, they call it, and then a loop right there. So let me unstring it here. I already got my string there. You can see the 13 windings and then the 5 wound whip. There you go. Okay, so that was a pain in the butt because my eyes are getting so bad. I had to get my glasses off when you see what I was doing. So doing this through the camera, I'm stepping on the string on the floor. Do not want to do that. Okay, of course this is all easier when you're not recording. Loop around the hitch pin, which you can't see that, but there it is. See, loop around the hitch pin, piece of cake on for our position on the left side of the, I guess, guide pins they call them on a harpsichord. And then carefully under or over, I guess. Well, let's just take the dumb jack out because it's going to go over the plectrum and under the damper. And then bam. Now to be wound up. So let me get a camera position and I'll see if I can do this. And this is where I kind of get confused because when I watch Zuckermann's people do this, they do this all the time. So they know, some people have a stick to say how much extra string to go. So there's my hole. I have the string out to here. Some people say like do 2 hand lengths. Well, my hands are enormous. So my 2 hands would be like 4 hands for other people. Other people take a measurement. There's one guy I saw, he said just measure 6 inches. But then I saw his windings, and his windings have like less than 1/3 the winding that the Zuckermann people have themselves. So I'm gonna go way too long, and if I have to unwind it and clip it up, I will. So I'm gonna do the 2-hand thing, but 2 enormous hands because these are the thinnest gauge. So there's 1, there's 2. So I'm going out, I can't even see. I'm going all the way out to there from the hole, which is there. So that's how far I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna actually cut it, because this is an 8-foot string and I don't need the 4 feet behind me. So let me cut that, and then we'll start winding. And 10 minutes later, I just cut it. My nice clippers are gone. I've noticed my tools have been disappearing from my toolbox. I have a nice utility knife that is missing, a nice screwdriver that's missing, and now my nice clippers are missing. So I wonder if I have a particular person in the house who's using my stuff. Now, you can't see me do this because I'm not a professional camera operator. I've never claimed to be. So let's back this out a little bit. Maybe this angle will work. And let's do some focus somewhere. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I still can't see what I'm doing. Let me do it up here. Is that gonna work? I mean, there's other videos you can watch, people who know what they're doing. I'm just doing it for the first time and figure some people might care. I don't know, maybe nobody cares. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit longer. And then we're going to wind it, which way? To the right. So I'm gonna bend that. I'm gonna bend that back, then I'll cut it. I'm gonna wind it to the right. Ouch, I just stabbed myself, which you're not supposed to do. Ouch, stabbed myself again. I'm bleeding, both my fingers are bleeding. Okay, you're not supposed to stab yourself when you do this. And not to mention, if I weren't doing this on camera, it would probably be way easier. I'm trying to get video at the same time, so let's go in there. Come on, we're gonna go back in there. Man, this stuff is tiny. When you watch people do it on camera, it looks like a normal string, but in person, this is like microscopic stuff we're dealing with here. All right, we're gonna wind it towards me and keep it below. There we go, nice and tight. Can you see that? Maybe you can. Oh, look at all that blood. Uh-oh, YouTube's gonna censor me. Oh dear. Winding is so, there we go. There we go, now it looks good. Does it? I can't see crap. My eyes are so bad. So you get the idea, right? I'm gonna wind this up, and then I'll start the camera again when it's time to put in the hole. I just can't see because my eyes are so bad. I gotta take my glasses off and get close. And censor this video with all the red stuff coming on my finger. I feel like I have way too much on here, but I don't know. I'll have to compare to Zuckermann's videos of the higher strings and see. Because I don't know. Maybe there's way too much. Maybe I cut it way too long. I mean, it's like 10 times longer than all these other ones. Whoever did the restringing like a decade or two ago used like a fifth or even a tenth of what I used, but whatever. I just went by what they said. So, all right, let's get that in there like this. So you hammer it in till it's even with the other ones just about. This is the part I've been scared of. I can even double check it and make sure it's an inch. It's an inch. So now let's tune it. Put this back in. And I already tuned the B below it. And you don't stretch your octaves on a harpsichord, by the way. So I'm not going to stretch this. I love unisons coming together in octaves because you think it's in tune, but it doesn't feel good. And then you bump it up just a few more cents in the most pleasing sound in the world. Now, I don't know how that sounds through the camera and stuff, but in person, that's like 99% there. It does not sound horrible, even though it's a steel string. Its voice is beautiful. Anyway, you can see I used probably twice too much string. So 2 hand lengths for me is way too much. So maybe a hand length and a third or something. So you can see there's way too much winding. There's probably double what I need right there. But it's all tight, I think. Looks tight. Looks like there might be an overlap up here. Maybe. I don't know, whatever. For my very, very first one, that's not terrible. So I'm going to do the other 3. Actually, I'm going to do all of them. These 2 up here, then the one down there. And I'll show you the result. And the second one is done. Can you see how good that looks? Look at that, the right length of wire. It's spooled beautifully. So now I see my errors in the first one of way too much wire, and there is one overlap in there, but I'm gonna leave it, I don't care. This one though, look at that. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of that. The down bearing isn't very much though. The break angle, we would say on guitar, I mean, it's done right, it's below the thing, and the right amount of wire and everything. So I had to pound it in a little bit more, but it sounds great though. It's fabulous. I can hear a bunch of overtones on that. Crazy. Sounds like I'm playing like 10 strings at once. One more thing I want to say, I have so much wire left over from these 2 that when I make my own loops, I could probably replace this whole upper part just right here with all the extra wire I have, which is great. I just need a hitch pin looper maker so I can make my own hitch pin loops. Then I can replace a bunch of these if they break. I'm gonna have lots of stuff left on hand. I'm so excited. All right, I got this one to do, and then the low one. Here we go. Number 3 looks just as good as the second one, and what I did is I gave it a little bit more space at the top there before the winding so that the down bearing would be better. And that was a pretty smart idea. So gave a little bit more space. Oh, I can't tell, but anyway, maybe you can tell. Anyway, there you go. On to the last one. And number 4 is in. There you go. Oh, hey, that's my speaking voice. Is that A? That's pretty funny. Anyway, so what? 2 A's blooming L C. That's kind of hilarious. So this one looks good. I can't tell if you look on there. It's not the best because I added a little space for more down bearing. So I did the best I could, but that was actually most difficult because it was thicker and it was stabbing me and it was really frustrating. So maybe 4 done. The first one was a struggle because it was my very first one, but by the second one I got it. So it only took me 2 to get the hang of it. It's just like doing a guitar, winding a guitar string from scratch, but a little next level, just a little bit. A little more difficult than guitar string, but it was fine. Got them all. It sounds okay, even though it's a different material. I think it sounds better, to be honest, than the wound stuff. Oh, I have a cat in my office playing with my strings. Oh, shoot. So there you go, 4 strings replaced and a whole bunch of extra wire for more strings if I need it. So let me see here. Let me set up and we'll tune the middle with an app that you can't see because I can't do the camera and the app at the same time. And I'll do the rest of it by ear. So let's get that set up. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm just tuning. I did the middle octave A to A with the app. And I'm just going down in octaves, unisons, or octaves, not stretching. I'll go up in octaves, not stretching. I am tuning to 432. And if you're there's a lot of noise in the background. My teenager had a whole bunch of friends over and they're jamming on the grand piano upstairs. So sorry if you hear that. But anyway, I'm tuning to 432. Why? Because when I got the harpsichord and I hit the A to see if it's in tune, it was coincidentally at 432. I'm like, that's cool. I don't want to go up to A440. I might break strings, I'm afraid. I don't want to go down to 415 historical tuning. I'm just not a fan of 415. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. So 432, I'm like, okay. 432 is common. People say there's this mysterious element resonating with nature. Okay, fine, maybe, whatever. I'll see if I feel it or not. But that's not why I'm doing it. People are asking, oh, you're being mysterious. I'm like, no, I'm just 432. So I tuned to 432 because why not? So I'm just going down in octaves now, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm not looking for absolute perfection. Within like 5 cents is fine. I can hear. I think they said humans can't hear a difference smaller than 6 cents or something, but I've proven I can hear up to 2 cents myself. So I'm going within that 2 cent tolerance. It doesn't need to be perfect, just so it feels good with the instrument. That's what I'm listening for. I'm not listening for like total perfection. To me, that defeats the purpose anyway of an instrument like this. I'm also going below the note and coming up. When you tune a piano, you go slightly above the note and come back down to set the pin. I'm treating this like a guitar. I guess I could literally treat it like a zither, since these are zither pins, but I'm treating it like a guitar where you come up from below when you tune a guitar. So that's how I'm doing this. And that sound where it's super duper close and it sounds good enough, but then you tweak it and get it perfect. The most pleasing sound on the planet to me, especially a piano unison where they're all the same pitch. But this is good, and this is still just as satisfying to hear. Oh man, I should use my real microphone for this because you'd hear it. Maybe not. Maybe the microphone would pick up false beats. I don't know if the camera phone is good enough, but did you hear that come together? Oh my gosh, I was just saying music to my ears, but that's a bad pun. I was also going to say I'm using the T-wrench because if you use this type of lever, you'll torque them weird in this. You can make the holes too big. So I'm using this style. There's another one I thought was in tune, but I bumped it up a little, and now it's really in tune. So this one, I think I finally got it, but I struggled with this one. I'm hearing something else. In fact, I thought the material of the string changed, and it didn't. I'm just hearing something else. Doesn't help the piano upstairs is being pounded on by 3 13-year-olds. And another reason why I'm doing 432 is because these low strings are pretty much in tune to that. And they're starting to flap around a little bit. So I was afraid if I went to 415, they'd flap around too much. I notice with this timbre, when they're in tune, the upper note disappears. So I know what some people do in theory, especially violinists, is they'll make their upper note slightly out of tune so you can actually hear it, otherwise it disappears. It didn't happen down here. I heard everything. And I choose one that's out of tune already. That's because it's my new string, so that would make sense. You can hear them both, but this, the top note disappears kind of. Wonder what that sounds like through the phone. Let's keep going. That's my new string too. Have to redo it already. And of course, the highest ones are the most difficult because you even think about turning the pin and you've turned it too much. And my C sharp that I replaced earlier, it already slipped down to the E below. Just from sitting here. It's already slipped just in the 30 seconds it's been. Alrighty, close enough because this one is giving me a lot of problems. There you go. That one's giving me problems. These are the highest 3 notes. Ooh, that one's really bad. Close enough. Close enough. That's the one I replaced. It's already out. Close enough. All right. Close enough though, I think. I don't think I need to be too perfect. Because of course I could play with it all day and never actually play the instrument because I'm just tuning all the time.
Thank you.